There were bright sparks, as I say. I thought Ekitike, ultimately, the big chances he has missed, but some of his link-up play, some of his touches, deft flicks, around the corner, playing around the corner. I thought Wirtz at times in the first half.
He looked better, didn't he?
Yeah, he was really unlocking them. And as I say, it was open. Some of his passing was great, but unfortunately, in the second half, it did just become a bit of a scrappy. Galatasaray showed a lot of smarts, really. Started picking up a lot of bookings, breaking up play. And as the clock ticked down, even if they added 8 minutes on at the end, which, as I told you, was a long time in football, 8 minutes, it didn't really look to me like the Reds were going to find a goal. It's not a penalty, quite clearly on review at the end. It's not a penalty, much as we all wanted it to be when Konate took a tumble. In the first half, you weren't very happy with the penalty they were awarded. What are your thoughts now you've seen it back?
My issue with the penalty that they are awarded is, in that instance, we've all played football, and when a winger is coming at you or anyone's attacking you, you are adapting to what they're doing. You're almost armless and legless, but when they do go past you, Dom's got to put his arm somewhere, and when he stops, I would argue his arm is not in the most unnatural position for a right back. Anyone that's played right back or wing back in that area there. He's tried to stop and go on the outside by putting an arm across, and his arms come back round. That's what happens. That is, it's a contact sport. I don't want to sit here and moan about it and say, if it was against us and it went the other way, I wouldn't potentially be sat here as keen as
potentially.
I am.
But it's soft though. It feels soft.
But in the competition we're playing in, it's also needless. And I'm trying to strike a fair balance here of he shouldn't be penalised for, trying to be aggressive against his man. He shouldn't be penalised for going and fronting up and being 1v1, in a position that he's not used to. However, that's an easier way in the Champions League because, fouls and contact is far more scrutinised than it is in the Premier League. We know that. And some of the fouls and the decisions tonight that were given, all three of us were sat there going, interesting, maybe with some more choice words, but it was interesting in how that was given. I mean, it's also, I find it interesting now, and we spoke about it last week on the Anfield Wrap, where the Champions League for us this season is very different from what the Champions League was last season, where, we absolutely stormed it last season, but for no great achievement. We still drawed PSG. So, you spoke about Hugo Ekitike, you spoke about Florian Wirtz. Playing these players in this type of game where, you can lose 1-0 to Galatasaray isn't the worst result in the world, because we saw the team that won the Champions League last year, where did they finish? And in my opinion now, it's a good exercise for us. I take that for Florian Wirtz has got minutes in the Liverpool system again. I wasn't that enamoured by his performance. He had good flashes, but I think the gaps in the midfield are still too big. I think that also is part of a Florian Wirtz problem, where he is far too advanced, but then he's far too maybe deep, or he's dropping in far too much from an attacking sense. And there are little ebbs and flows within our own team here where we've got to work it out and we've got to sort it out. But a night like tonight, we've lost. It is what it is. But we've got good minutes in players like Florian Wirtz. Like you said, Jeremy Frimpong now has played in a Liverpool system again. So has Kirkes, so has Wirtz, Ekitike as well. I thought Ekitike was the shining light in our performance tonight. I thought the deft touches, the flicks, how he drew people into play, how he received the ball was great. We just didn't see enough of it in that final third, and that's a shame, but we'll take the learnings.
I'd definitely rather be the best team in Europe in March and April than in September and October.
Yeah, fuck September and October.
Having done it the other way around last year, that's definitely the way. We've covered the doom and gloom. I mean, aside from the fact that Alisson Becker's injured, Hugo Ekitike's gone off injured, the world's caving in. I do think we should show some patience and things will be all right in the end.